In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NFL games happening on October 8, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NFL games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. New York Jets versus Denver Broncos. This NFL Sunday matchup features the New York Jets traveling to take on the Denver Broncos at home. The Jets dropped their game last week at home against the Chiefs 23-20, while the Broncos won their game 31-28 on the road against the Bears. One of the most interesting matchups of the week will take place in the late afternoon slate as the Denver Broncos host the New York Jets. Both these teams need this win, and there's also some interesting drama between the coaching staffs. During training camp, Broncos coach Sean Payton ruffled a lot of feathers by saying last year's Denver team was one of the worst coached teams in NFL history. Last year's Broncos coach was Nathaniel Hackett, and he's now the offensive coordinator for the Jets. Aaron Rodgers and the whole Jets organization objected strongly to Payton's comments, and that's for sure going to be some extra motivation this week. Quarterback Zach Wilson took a huge step forward last week in primetime against the Chiefs, and now he's getting to face a significantly softer defense. He's not just facing a softer defense, he's facing one of the softest defenses in recent memory. Denver gave up 70 points to Miami 2 weeks ago, and followed that up by getting shredded by Justin Fields last week. Vance Joseph appears to be on the verge of getting fired in his first year as Payton's defensive coordinator, and nothing he's been trying is working. The Jets' defense, on the other hand, have picked up right where they left off last season, and Robert Sale's unit made Patrick Mahomes have one of his worst games in quite some time last week. The Jets nearly beat the Chiefs last week behind their stout defense and an impressive game from Zach Wilson. Given the Broncos' problems on defense, allowing an average of nearly 38 points per game after the Dolphins' 70-point outburst, this really opens things up for the Jets on offense. Breece Hall is officially back and ready to take over the backfield with an explosive performance this game, and Zach Wilson is looking to prove that last week wasn't a fluke and he is the starting quarterback. Look for a big game from the Jets offense while their defense continues to do what they have done all season and make life hard for the opposing quarterback. Keep in mind that both Javon Williams and Jerry Jeudy are a bit banged up but probable for the game, and that only helps the Jets' defense. The Jets have faced some tough teams to start the season, and with Zach Wilson finally starting to settle in, as well as Breece Hall no longer being on a pitch count, I think the Jets are geared up to go get a W against a struggling Broncos team. Wilson won't need to play nearly as well as he did last week against Kansas City for the Jets to take care of business. So the New York Jets to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. For the Broncos offense, this is about to be by far their toughest test of the season. So far they've played Las Vegas, Washington, Miami, and Chicago, all defenses that are nowhere near as good as this Jets one is. Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson has looked a bit better than he did last year, but that isn't saying much. He still hasn't looked very impressive, and even the 31-point effort against the Bears last week was quite misleading. Denver had only 311 yards of total offense in that one, so don't be fooled. The Broncos' offensive line is exploitable, as we saw when they surrendered 7 sacks against Miami, and the Jets' loaded defensive front can take full advantage. Even though Zach Wilson had a coming-out party last week, and even though Denver's defense has been atrocious, a low-scoring affair is still the most likely scenario here. That was easily the best Wilson has looked since he got drafted out of Brigham Young University, and it's unrealistic to expect him to replicate some of the tight window throws he made the other night. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Kansas City Chiefs versus Minnesota Vikings. In a Week 5 game of contrasting fortunes, the 3-1 Kansas City Chiefs roll into Minnesota with the unstoppable power couple of Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. You thought I was going to say Taylor, didn't you? Meanwhile, the 1-3 Minnesota Vikings find themselves in uncharted territory after a string of narrow defeats, a stark departure from their unblemished record in one-possession games just a season ago. 2 playoff teams a year ago meet in a non-conference matchup with the morale of their fan bases is at stake. The Kansas City Chiefs opened the season with a home loss to the Lions, but have since won 3 straight games. A huge part of the Chiefs' success has been their defense overachieving and allowing only 15 points per game to opposing offenses. That ranks 5th best in the NFL, and they will need to show up again in this game against a pass-happy Vikings team. The Chiefs' offense remains hard to contain and keep out of the end zone, and I expect the Vikings' defense to get scored on all game long. The Vikings had a rough start to the season, going 0-3 before beating another winless team in Carolina last week. Every game they have lost has been a one-possession game, and they were barely able to beat the Panthers too. If they want to do better, they need to get their struggling ground game going. They rank 5th worst in rushing yards per game. The way this Chiefs defense has been playing, I don't see the Vikings offense putting up much of a threat. They could struggle to run the football and force Kirk Cousins to throw the ball more than he wants and make mistakes. The Chiefs have shown their ability to bounce back from early season adversity, and with Patrick Mahomes at the helm, their high-powered offense is capable of putting up points in a hurry. Mahomes has started the season in stellar fashion, accumulating over 1,000 passing yards and 8 touchdowns. The Chiefs consistently rank among the top offensive teams in the league, and they have a track record of covering spreads, especially in games where they are favored. Additionally, the Chiefs' defense, surprisingly, has been performing well, ranking in the top 10 in both yards allowed and points allowed. This balanced approach, with an improved defense and a prolific offense, makes the Chiefs a formidable opponent. They are facing a -4 spread, which they have a 14-11-2 against the spread record against National Football Conference teams in his career. The Vikings are allowing just 3.5 yards per carry, but their passing defense has been pretty bad so far this season. Minnesota is blitzing on 57% of dropbacks, and blitzing against Patrick Mahomes is literally a suicide. I'm expecting Mahomes to bounce back from a rough outing against the Jets' stout defense. The Chiefs will slow Minnesota's passing offense down. They rank 5th in the NFL in blitzes per dropback, and we all know how bad Kirk Cousins is under pressure. The Vikings are 2-7-1 against the spread in their last 10 games overall and 0-5 against the spread in their previous 5 outings at home. On the other side, the Chiefs are 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 games overall and 8-1 against the spread in their previous 9 meetings with the National Football Conference. So the Kansas City Chiefs to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Vikings desperately need to involve rushing in their game plan for this battle, but if they have to chase the Chiefs, the Vikings will continue to throw the ball a lot, and we could easily see another defensive touchdown against Minnesota. The historical data strongly supports this choice, with Mahomes' road games boasting a 22-14-0 over record, indicating a propensity for high-scoring contests. Similarly, the Vikings playing at home have shown a tendency towards the over, with a 25-18-1 record during the same time frame. Kirk Cousins and Patrick Mahomes have been spectacular this season despite playing good defenses, and while each Kansas City and Minnesota boast improved squads, quarterbacks in the NFL typical rule the day. The line has been set pretty high, but I am expecting both teams to attack through the air for most of the game. The over is 8-4 in Minnesota's previous 12 contests overall, and it is 4-1 in Kansas City's last 5 outings in October. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Dallas Cowboys versus San Francisco 49ers. A pair of National Football Conference rivals battle on the gridiron in one of the best matchups we've seen so far this season up in Northern California. The Dallas Cowboys are on the road as they make the trip to take on the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football. Dallas rolls in off a 38-3 victory over New England at home last Sunday, covering the line as a 6-point favorite. San Francisco crunched the Cardinals 35-16 at home in their previous game last Sunday, covering the line as a 14.5-point favorite in that contest. In the all-time regular season series between the teams, the 49ers own a 15-14-1 advantage, though the Cowboys have won 3 straight and 6 of the last 7 meetings. That includes a 41-33 home win in the most recent matchup on December 20, 2020. San Francisco has knocked Dallas out of the playoffs each of the last 2 years. Can the Cowboys avenge those losses? The 49ers have won against the spread in both of their games played in San Francisco this season, including a 35-16 victory versus the Cardinals last week. They have been unbeatable at home recently, winning against the spread in 9 straight matchups in Levi's Stadium dating back to November last year. The 49ers have won their last 2 matchups with the Cowboys against the spread, with both games coming during the playoffs in the last 2 seasons. Dallas was held to 17 points or less by the 49ers defense in both of those contests. San Francisco ranks high in several key defensive categories at home, including 4th in the league in both opponent yards per game allowed with 256 and points per game allowed with 14, so the odds the Dallas offense scores quickly in bunches like they have the past several weeks against inferior defenses are low. The 49ers have the 3rd stingiest defense in the league overall, giving up a total of 14.5 points per game on average over their first 4 games of the season. Dallas' high-powered offense has sputtered a bit away from their home stadium, ranking in the bottom half of the league in average pass completions thus far. A trend may be forming, as Prescott had similar struggles on the road in his successful campaign last year. Look for the San Fran's defensive unit to take advantage of this flaw and get the ball back in the hands of their offense and stand out McCaffrey consistently throughout the game. This one is going to be an interesting clash, as there are 2 top 5 scoring offenses in the league taking on a pair of top 5 scoring defenses. We saw Dallas slip up against Arizona in Week 3, though they bounced back with a vengeance as they dismantled New England last week. That game was at home, however, whereas this one is on the road. San Francisco took apart Arizona last week and has scored at least 30 points in all 4 of their games this season. The 49ers are a dangerous offensive team and they have home field advantage going for them. Perhaps more importantly, San Francisco is the more complete team at this point. Dallas' schedule to this point has done nothing for me, and while the 49ers haven't had it much tougher, I just like the way the 49ers have come out to play. It'll be a matchup that is one of the most watched of the year for sure, but I believe that the Niners win this one by 4 to 7 points. So the San Francisco 49ers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Both Dallas and San Francisco have elite offenses this season, ranking in the top 5 in the league in many key offensive categories. The Cowboys and the 49ers are ranked 3rd and 4th in the NFL in average points per game, respectively, so they both have the tools to put a significant amount of points on the board throughout the game. McCaffrey is arguably the most dominant offensive player in the league and has added multiple scores to San Francisco's point total each week, including 4 touchdowns in last week's game against the Cardinals. The Cowboys have gone over the point total in 2 of their previous 3 games. They did go under in last week's win versus New England, but their offense put 38 points on the board and only went under the total because of the Patriots' inept offense. Dallas has scored 30 or more points in 3 of their first 4 games of the season. The 49ers have gone over the point total in 4 straight regular season games played in front of their home crowd dating back to last season. I understand that last year's game in the playoffs was a 19-12 final, but that was the playoffs. This is just a Week 5 regular season game that won't decide anything, for the time being at least. The intensity will be obviously high with it being a primetime matchup, but you just can't compare it to the postseason with a National Football Conference championship berth on the line. The 49ers are 3rd in the NFL in scoring offense at 31 points per game, and the Cowboys are right behind them at 31 per game. There's a lot more that goes into it than just what these teams are averaging, but I just think there are too many playmakers on the field for this not to be a high-scoring affair. Prescott has just 1 interception this season, and the 49ers have basically gotten whatever they want on offense behind Brock Purdy's efficiency and Christian McCaffrey's dominance. Plus, we deserve fireworks. If we have to suffer through Bears Commanders on Thursday night, the least these 2 teams could do is give us an offensive show, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Most signs and trends point to a high-scoring affair on Sunday evening. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.